What is going on, Internet? Another video coming at you from Redskins Rant. Hail to the Redskins. I will be going over, this is my summary and kind of my prediction video for the Washington Redskins versus the Eagles. If you're curious what music's playing, I will show you. It is from DJ Ray, freestyle pump-up instrumental beat. I'll probably repeat it a couple times, but I liked it. I heard it a couple days ago. So, okay, so if you're looking at the picture right here, I'm just pushing, kind of pushing the agenda for the name to go to the Red Wolves. I don't want the name to change, period, but if we're going to change it, it might as well be something cool. And so I'm going to be kind of pushing this agenda till it happens, kind of like last year where I was kind of wanting Bruce Allen to be fired. Other people were hashtagging, I wasn't, but I'm probably going to hashtag Washington Red Wolves. So that being said, we're going to dive into this video in here in about a second, but I do want to tell you guys something else. I do have started a podcast. It is called Football Lovers Delight. It is on Anchor, and I have a YouTube channel dedicated to it. It's called Football Lovers Delight Podcast. It's just about me. I talk about football. I may have a special guest on every now and then, some friends of mine. Maybe someone from another YouTube channel I might jump on. But the videos, there'll be 2 a week, basically with it. One will be a prediction video, like near the end of the week on like a Wednesday or Thursday. And then one will be a reaction video that'll post like Tuesday, or I'll record Monday night or Tuesday and post it then. So a lot of stuff crammed into those 2 days, but that's what the podcast will be about. Strictly football, nothing else. No politics, no nothing. Just scores, reactions, and a little bit of fantasy talk. So without further ado, let's dive into this. So Washington Redskins, or Washington football team, plays the Philadelphia Eagles. This is who is listed as on the injured report. In Shadik Charles is questionable. I still think he'll dress. Thomas Davis is out. Kendall Fuller is doubtful. I kind of hope he's just out. I don't want to rush him back. Jonathan Allen, he's been full practice all week. I think he'll end up playing. And Gandy Golden will also, I think, end up playing. So I don't think there's too many issues with injury other than like Kendall Fuller and Thomas Davis. But I don't really see Thomas Davis being as much a contributor as Kendall Fuller is. So I wouldn't mind Kendall Fuller getting like. If they wait a week, I would understand. I can completely get it. Now let's look at the Philadelphia Eagles. Javon Hargrave, defensive tackle, someone they were really hoping to pair with Fletcher Cox. He's out. Alshon Jeffrey, wide receiver, probably the best wide receiver. He's out. Derek Barnett, he's questionable. Defensive end, one of the better defensive ends. He's questionable. Lane Johnson's questionable. So, Jalen Reagor, I've heard he's out. I've heard like numerous reports say he's not playing Sunday, but right here he says he had full practice last 2 days, so he might play. Miles Sanders, I've heard, is also out as well, just because he's very limited, and they probably don't want to have to go the whole season with backup running backs. And then also Corey Clement is he had limited practice all week and then a couple full practices, but I think he's good to go. But I think Miles Sanders is more questionable, and I think Jalen Reagor is not gonna play, but you never know. So basically what I'm getting at with this is I think the Eagles are a lot more banged up. So if we just go and we look at if we just look at the squad versus squad, okay, so let's look at it, each unit versus each unit. Okay, so offensive line, their offensive line versus our defense. If you look at their offensive line versus our defense, I think we have a huge edge in this. I think our defensive line is healthy, other than maybe Jonathan Allen, but we have so much depth. Like our starting lineup for our defense is Chase Young, Montez Sweat at defensive end, Dron Payne, and Jonathan Allen. If we take all 4 of them out and put in our backups, we have Tim Settle, Matt Ioannidis, Ryan Kerrigan, and Ryan Anderson. Those 4 would be a top 15 defensive line on any other team in the NFL right now. There are some teams that would kill to have those 4 as backups, and that's our backup unit. So our starting line, and we're going to throw waves at this offensive line. They're going to be exhausted by the end of the game. Okay, you have Jason Peters is the left tackle. He's protecting Carson Wentz's blind side. Don't be surprised if he gets all 4 of the defensive ends in his face, and maybe they'll throw Jonathan Allen at him once just to give him a little change of pace. I don't know, maybe. But don't be surprised if he's exhausted by the end of the game. interior line is not going to be very good. Lane Johnson's a right tackle. He's banged up, and we got nothing but healthy guys across the board except for John Allen, but he's going up against their interior of their offensive line, and that's probably the weakest part of their offensive line. So I heavily give us the advantage in this. If we can stop the run game early and our offense can get a lead, I see us putting this game in very good hands when it comes to our defensive line having to go after Carson Wentz. Granted, the Eagles' offensive line last year was one of the highest rated, but right now they are just very banged up. They're kind of going through what we usually go through with our offensive line. That's like a lot of injuries. So, edge our offensive line. Now let's flip that. Our offensive line versus their defensive line. I've already shown that a handful of their defensive players aren't even playing. That doesn't mean really much. They're still going to have a better defensive line than our offensive line is. There's really just more question marks on ours. We have Jerron Christian. He could be the next Trent Williams. He could be an adequate replacement for Donald Penn. He could be the worst left tackle in the league. We just don't know. We haven't seen him play enough. We haven't seen him get the opportunity. Ron Rivera's been raving about him. And we know a little bit about Wes Martin. I'd say we know more about Wes Martin than we do about excuse me. We know a little bit more about Wes Martin than we do about Jerron Christian, but we also don't know about Wes Martin. And for the first time, apparently in a long time, Morgan Moses had a full offseason where he was healthy and he put on some muscle and he looks like he's in better shape. So what's going to be the situation there? Is he going to be in much better shape? Is he going to be a much stronger blocker? He's going to have better footwork. Is he not going to false start all the time? Maybe he was false starting all the time because he was gimped a little bit and he needed that extra step. I don't know. But we'll see. There's a lot of question marks on our offensive line. Could it be good? Sure. Will it be great? Probably not great at all. But it could be good enough that with our offensive weapons, and I think we have more offensive weapons than we're going to get credit for. I really like this background. I want to put it on a loop, but I don't know how. Are we going to have the opportunity to... is our offensive line going to do well enough to consist? I think it can, but I still give them the advantage. They have the benefit of being a cohesive unit that's played together for a couple of years. We don't have that benefit. So I think I give their defensive line the edge over our offensive line. Now let's look at the next part of this, and this is where I'm going to formulate my opinion about who's going to win this game. I've already got my opinion on it, but I'm just building my case. Let's look at their receivers versus our cornerbacks. I think our cornerbacks have the edge. I just showed you the report. They have their two best receivers are on injury report. Deshaun Jackson's not on this list. He's actually healthy, but I don't think Deshaun Jackson's going to do as well as he thinks. I think they're going to key on him and force the other guys to beat him. And none of those guys are one-on-one super great. And I think we actually have a decent depth at the cornerback position. That's why I don't mind Kendall Fuller sitting a game to make sure he's completely returned and healthy. I think Ronald Darby is legit. He's going to have a good game. We have Jimmy Moreland. We have Greg Stroman. We have Fabian Monroe. We definitely have depth at the corner position. So we don't really need Kendall Fuller to come back and play on an opener where he could get injured even worse. So I think I trust our cornerbacks more than I trust their receivers. So I think we have the edge there. And when you look at our offensive weapons, our receivers versus their corners and their secondary, I give us the edge. Last year, Darius Slay said that the hardest matchup he had last year was against Terry McLaurin. And so what that says to me is he's not going to be able to guard him. He's not going to be able to guard him. And if he is able to guard him, I don't think the other guys are good enough to stop Sims. Sims is too fast. I think you have too many guys coming out of the backfield. Here's the thing: if Darius Slay is guarding McLaurin, that means they're in man. And if they're in man, we have McKissick, Bryce Love, and Gibson coming out of the backfield, and I don't trust their linebackers are not very good. Our linebackers are okay. Theirs are not good at all. And their matchup, I'll take that matchup every day with our running backs. And we're gonna gash them every time. So if they play zone, even better. Now you're not going to man up on McLaurin. And I still think no one else out there can guard Steven Sims. I think Gandy Golden's actually going to have a couple big catches, like one or two big catches. Not like he's not going to have like 10 catches or anything, but he's going to have some big catches because he's so big. And I trust. I have a feeling that our receivers are going to get the best of their secondary in this matchup. So I give the edge to our receivers in this. Now let's look at tight end. They have the better tight end group. I'm not even going to argue that. They probably have the best tight end tandem in the league. Best two tight end tandem in the league by far. But I don't think our tight end group is horrible. I think it'll be more of a red zone tight end group, not like Kels and Kittle getting the ball all over the field. But I think ours will be more red zone, and so I do give them the edge when it comes to that. But I do think we're better equipped this year to defend the tight ends with our linebacking core the way it is and our safeties. I think we're much better equipped to handle it. But I still give them the edge by far. I still give them the edge. And then our running backs. We have a running back by committee. We have three that I think are super fast, and one's a bruiser, and they have two that are pretty good, but they're both like not healthy. So I don't think their running game is going to be as effective as ours. Let me rephrase. I don't think it's going to be as effective as ours. So I think our defensive line's going to negate their running game. I think our running game's not going to do too well either because theirs is so good. But I think it will do slightly better, enough to move the ball, enough to work the clock, enough to keep us balanced and the offense honest. So I just don't see that happening with two running backs on your IR. I mean, who's the third running back on this team? So I all the things that I'm mentioning point to the Washington football team getting the upset, and this is like a one that everyone's picking the Eagles to win. I think we got a good situation. Last year we went into the Eagles with big underdogs. We punched them in the mouth early, and because of two things: one, our coaches make adjustments, and two, Josh Norman. Which we should have got rid of last year, long before we got rid of him this year. Josh Norman just wasn't what he used to be and should have never been on the field. He should have been cut last year to save us money. We should have signed someone else or played someone younger. And he gave up 3 50-yard touchdowns in that game. 2 of them to Deshaun Jackson. I think the other one was to Alshon Jeffrey. Maybe Miles Sanders. Maybe. But I know he gave up 2 by him. Or he gave up 3. One he tried to blame on Jimmy Moreland. But he gave up at least 2. And Jordan is up 20-7 at the half, and he doesn't try to go for a score or anything at the half. He just like kneels on it and goes in. And I thought we could have kept the momentum going a little bit. And he come out and they get like 3 straight touchdowns, and they end up beating us 30-something to 20. And I just didn't feel that there was adjustments, that we didn't carry that momentum. So and so forth. And everyone always says, like, well, that game, everyone was, like, down because Adrian Peterson didn't play. I don't care. We were up 20-7. You think at some point you could start the game that way and be down. That makes sense. But they started the game, punched them in the mouth. The defense got some sacks early. It was just getting after it. I don't want to hear that excuse. And then the second time we played them, after the team had already gone through a coaching change, we already fired a coach. We're on a third quarterback. We're starting our rookie. We've already got a bunch of injuries across the board on the team. And our rookie quarterback and our young offense goes toe-to-toe with them. Our defense does okay, and we end up losing the game. We should have lost the game by like 4, but they got like a touchdown late because they blitzed Haskins, and I still to this day say the coach should have just called timeout. They bought the house. Haskins fumbled it, and someone took it to the house. And in typical Eagles fashion, they ran the score up when they had a chance just to fall on the ball and be classy. It's the Eagles. It's Philadelphia. They never are. So that's what they did last year, and I don't blame Haskins for that. Like I said, I blame the coach, Callahan. He should have called timeout. He should have like, hey, if they blitz you, hit this out route real quick. Let's get out of bounds, and then we still have one more play or whatever, or hit the underneath, and everyone block whatever. Set up a play that can counter that. That's what you should have done. That's what a good coach does. We didn't have a good coach. We had a coach that came in, and he did a good job of just kind of like rallying the troops and making the team competitive. I'll give him that credit, but a good coach would have recognized that long before he hiked the ball and understood the situation and not put your rookie in that situation look that bad. But still, my point is Washington, the Redskins then, the Washington football team now, maybe the future Red Wolves, went toe-to-toe with a team that won the division, that still has some lingering parts of a Super Bowl champion twice. And in neither of those games did I sit there and watch the Eagles and think they were overwhelmingly the better team. Now let's look at the offseason. in our offseason, we added, let's look at their offseason. They added Darius Slay, Hargrove. They brought back Jason Peters, who's old, though, but he is old. They drafted some receivers. That's it. Carson Wentz is still banged up. Do this again. Nope, go back. Well, you know what? Let's go to his site and see if he's got any more. Sure, why not? Sounds good. Okay. So they didn't add much to their team. They're banged up. Carson Wentz is still Carson Wentz. He can get injured very easily. I don't trust him to last the whole season, to be honest. The only thing they do is the team is still consistent. The team is still pretty good. But I don't think they've done anything to get drastically better. What has Washington done? Washington fired their coach. They fired their entire coaching staff. They fired the training staff that for some reason all their players are getting injured all the time. Okay? They fired their GM. They brought in Ron Rivera. They brought in an elite coach in Ron Rivera, an elite coach in Jack Del Rio. We changed our defensive scheme to fit our talent. Before it didn't. It wasn't the best scheme, 3-4, and basically guys just got to occupy space rather than going and getting the quarterback. You put Kerrigan at outside linebacker. He's not an outside linebacker. He's a defensive end. He's always been a defensive end, but he still thrived in that position. And we went out and we got a new running back. We got Chase Young. We got a new offensive coordinator. The offseason that Haskins has been amazing. His transformation's been just beautiful to watch. It's been amazing. So I think the Washington football team, it just has a lot more things going for it right now. There's no film on our offense. Everyone knows the offense that the Eagles are going to run. There's film on it. There's film on the defense. There's no film on our defense. There's no film on what we're going to do in a 4-3, how we're going to blitz guys, how we're going to bring pressure, how we're going to do twists, what happens when Chase Young's on the right side rather than the left side, so on and so forth. You're not going to have that. You're not going to have what happens whenever McLaurin lines up on the left. Is he more likely to do a streak or is he going to do a slant? What are we going to prepare for? You're not going to have that. You don't know in this offensive scheme where they're going to put guys and where they're going to be more likely to do things. And I think that's huge advantage to Washington. Eagles don't have that advantage. Everything they've done is going to be right on film for the Washington to prepare for. Everything that Washington that's going to do, there's nothing the Eagles can prepare for. They just got to play assignment football, and then they might make adjustments at halftime. I think that's a huge advantage to the Washington football team. Now, a disadvantage is Eagles have some chemistry. They've played together for a while, but I don't think in a COVID season that might be a factor. But I think when it comes to NFL, where you have to make game plans and you have to play to your strengths, I think it's more important to have a better scheme because NFL, and I've had this discussion with people before, the NFL is based more on, not individual players, it's actually teams. A really good coach is better than having an elite defensive end. Okay? A great, Bill Belichick, best coach ever. He has more value. He can put him on any team and he'll make it successful because he'll find out what everyone's good at and he'll make his scheme around that. And that's what makes a good coach. Jay Gruden, as much as I like Jay Gruden, I thought he did some good things with the team and the offense. He just would not build his offense around his players. He wanted to fit them into a square peg. He wasn't malleable. He wasn't adjustable. He didn't adapt, and that's why he got fired. But my final prediction for this game, I think the Washington football team will win this game. It's going to be close, like 24-21, maybe 24-17. It'll be close, but I think we'll get a score late, and that'll put us ahead, and we'll have them reeling, and then they'll be the ones that our defensive line will get a late sack to seal the game, or a late strip sack, fumble, something like that to seal the game. So, with 19 minutes gone by, that is my video. I want to thank everyone for watching. If you could, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, get videos like this all the time, and also share this so all your friends can watch this video as well. I'm very close to my goal. If you look at my goal here with my channel, I am up to 445 viewers. I would love to get to 450, and I want to get to 500 before the end of the season, obviously. But 450 is a dream come true. Actually, it was down to it was like 200 and something before I made the video about the name change, which I highly recommend everyone go see. But without further ado, that's the video. I want to thank everyone for watching. Hail to the Redskins. And again, like I said, I'm going to have this Red Wolf stuff all season long. That's what I want the team to be. For the Washington Warriors, it's going to make me ill every time I say it. We're Washington Red Tails. It's going to make me ill every time. I think the Red Wolves is the surefire #1 thing. Not to mention, I know if you've ever seen my other videos, I've mentioned this before, there's an elite helicopter crew in the Navy SEALs that is called the Red Wolf Squad. They're helicopter pilots, elite. They go in and out of tough areas. They're the best in the world. So I think it has a good double meaning. And I've seen some pictures with the double meaning where it's the wolves and it's the 3 stars with the lines above it. But that's my video. Thank you for watching. Hail to the Redskins. Have a good one. See ya.